Hi friends, in this video I am going to talk about how to become an algorithmic trader. I am Devanshu Kapoor and my channel is TrendBends. I have devoted a lot of time to trading, and in my experience what I have understood is that there are certain skill sets which you require to become an algorithmic trader. Now what are these skill sets? We will study in the upcoming slides. But before that, let me just tell you that I did my bachelor's in pharmacy and I am an MBA in marketing and have a work ex of approximately 11 years, which is not in trading or in equity markets. I have learned the entire thing on my own, having some interest which I garnered around 3 to 4 years back when I started learning about equity markets. And I found that if my trading system can be automated, it would really help save me a lot of time as well as money. Rather, it would help me gain more money. So since you can see and relate that I am not from the background of financial sector, nor I did any of the degrees in financial modeling or quantitative finance. It is everything which I have done over the past 3 to 4 years, which I am going to share with you in the upcoming slide. So the first skill set which is required is that you should know basics of markets. Now, what does this entail? To begin with, you should know how to place an order in the market. If, for example, if you want to buy Infosys shares on a particular day, how would you buy the same? What quantity, what kind of order you would like to place, whether it would be a market order or a limit order. If you would want to place any stop loss in it, that is a cover order or a bracketed order. So these kinds of things you should be aware of. Second thing is you should be able to comprehend the charts. The most used chart is candlesticks, the Japanese candlesticks. So they give you the data of OHLC, which is open, high, low, and close. So these four parameters are of basic importance, which you should really know. Once you have traded, you will obviously want to know what kind of profits you are into or loss you are into, what is the holding, what dividends have been paid out to you. So you should be able to understand what the different reports your stockbroker is generating. You should be able to understand that. And lastly, if you want to go into certain strategies which are into the derivative segment, what are derivative segments? There are two classes. One is options and second is futures. So if you want to trade in options and futures, so you should have an understanding of that. Otherwise, cash segment is wherein you buy and sell the equity shares. So if you have the basics of markets cleared, now let's go on to the next one and check out what's the second skill set which is required. The second skill set is programming language. There are lots of programming languages in this world. Python is my favorite. Why it is my favorite? Because it is a high level language and an interpreted language. What does a high level language mean? A high level language means something which humans speak with each other or understand. It is more in verbatim and uh, easy to understand English language. It's not based on computer languages such as C or machine level languages, which are binary in nature, comprising of when they're compiled, they convert the code into a machine learning code, which is 0 and 1. So ultimately, a computer would understand that, but for us to understand, and the most easiest language would be Python. So this is my favorite. Since I told you I'm not from the programming background, I had to understand and learn this language. So out of all the languages which were available, such as Node.js, which is Node JavaScript, Golang, PHP, Java, C Sharp, out of the six languages which I mentioned here, I chose Python because coming from a non-programming background, I could understand and learn this language fairly in say a span of 3 to 4 months. So you need to get proficient in that. You need to practice the code. You need to learn a lot. I would say that the learning curve is steep here. It's not an easy journey. But yes, if you have decided to become an algorithmic trader, you have to select one language. And my personal recommendation would be to go with Python. Let's see the third skill set which is there. So it's not actually a skill set but a basic requirement. Your stockbroker account. Now, the skill set which is there is you should know which stockbroker you need to open your account with. If you have an account with, say, ICICI Securities or HDFC Securities or Zerodha, they would provide you certain API integrations. Now, what are APIs? APIs are application programming interface. Now, in basic layman terms, what is an API? An API is nothing but an automated way in which your system, that is your computer, is gonna communicate with the servers of your broker. So the digital interaction which is happening, that is going to happen through API. It is like gateway. It is there certain gates which are opened up and then closed basis certain requests which are placed. So this trading API which is provided by the broker, it could be free or chargeable. I use IIFL. How I finally decided upon IIFL, it was again not easy. I had to open account with more than 10 brokers, understand their trading APIs, what are the facilities which they are providing. So I have done it with Zerodha, so it's a paid subscription. I have done it with HDFC Securities, again paid. I have explored Fires. I have done Dhan, 5 Paisa, Sharekhan. Ultimately, I decided to go with IIFL. So, second thing is, in the same broker who is providing you the trading APIs, they should also provide the documentation. So, all of them provide the documentation. However, how is it presented? How easy it is to understand? That matters. And lastly, for example, if you're using Python, then there are certain codes which you would want that they are already defined as functions, predefined as functions. So in this case, in the case of Python, we have a library called IIFL APIs. So if you import that library into Python and then run the codes, your life becomes easier. So you need to check out which the broker which you are selecting, whether that broker has the proper set of documentation, has the library in the choice of your language, and is it free or is it chargeable. Let's look at the fourth skill set which is required. Database management, very important. So whatever data you are fetching or you are supplying, or basis the data from where you are making the analysis, you need to have this data with you. If you are developing some strategy which is back tested or you want to back test it, so you need to have the data with you. What is data here? Data is the, again, open, high, low and close of all the stocks which are listed in NSE or BSE. So you want that data, and basis the values which are stored in that data, you want to make out some you want to derive some strategy out of it. So how do you do that? So you need to have that data accessible, and your data needs to be stored in a database management system. So this is something like MS Access. If you have not heard of MS Access, so you might have heard about spreadsheets, which are, for example, Microsoft Excel. Microsoft Excel is not a DBMS, but people use it for presentations, use it for storing values, but there are certain limitations in it which are not there in a DBMS. So there are two ways, there are two kinds of database management systems. One are document DBs and second is relational database management systems. If you are aware of these things, good. If you are not, I would suggest you to go with MongoDB, and you will obviously need to code this again. And to code this, you would need a programming language. So either you could go with SQL, which is structured query language, SQL, or not only SQL, that is NoSQL. So my favorite here is MongoDB, and I store my data in this database management system. Now, if the last slide looked very daunting to you, there are certain basic tools which can simplify your life. So don't get bogged down if that I would need to learn Python, I would need to learn SQL, and then I would have to integrate those APIs. So let me simplify some stuff with you, some stuff here. There are certain basic tools which are available. For example, charting, which is a stock screener. Another one is Trading View, which is charting tool. Then IIFL, which is for integrating certain things, and then Google Sheets for storing some data. Now these four things which I mentioned here, I'll in my next video which I'll upload, I'll try to create a workflow of how I'll select a stock from charting basis certain parameters. I will integrate that charting with my Google Sheets account, and the result which is generated in charting will be sent to my Google Sheets. It will be stored there in some microseconds. How will this happen? This will happen through IIFL, which is a tool for webhook integration. I'll explain that also, the workflow for that. And then my Python code will read the data from this Google Sheets where the output has been captured. Basis the stocks which are there in the output, my Python code will place the orders with my broker. I'll try to explain the entire workflow in my next video, so stay tuned for that. Lastly, you want your system to be automated. That is the basic thing which you want out of algorithmic trading. If you want it to be automated, you cannot keep your laptop or computer open for 24 hours and keep manual checks. So here there are certain cloud computing services which we can use. AWS is Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. I use AWS. I use AWS Lambda, which is a functionality under AWS, or you can also use Amazon EC2. And then there are various other tools which are there in AWS, such as CloudWatch, S3 for storage, SQS, DynamoDB. So lots of things are there in AWS which makes our life simple. So you need to understand how AWS works. You can go to the documentation of AWS, just Google it, start learning about it. Primarily, you will have to understand about AWS Lambda and AWS EC2. Start with both of them. Start with AWS Lambda first and then go to EC2, and then you can automate your entire setup. That is it, folks. Gracias and adios. Hasta luego. Please subscribe to my channel and like the video so that I can get encouraged to post further more videos related to algorithmic trading.